Hey y'all, I'm back with another ombre or slash balayage tutorial. This is going to be a really long tutorial, so please have time and patience. Besides that, what you're gonna need is some gloves. I'm gonna use rubber gloves because they're thicker than normal hair dyeing gloves. Then you're gonna need a mixing bowl and some brushes and a comb, bleach powder of your preference. I'm using the color B Diamond. It's no dust and it's white powder, not blue. Then you're gonna need some developer, well, peroxide. I'm using 40 volume. And then you're gonna also use a toner. I'm using Vela T18. And with the toner, you can only use 20 volume. So you're gonna need another peroxide, which is 20 volume. And you're gonna need some kitchen foil. Then lastly, you're also gonna need a couple of hair dyes to put on top of the hair once you have bleached it. And I'm using the color 7 and 8.1 by L'Oreal, but you can use any one you want. So we're gonna do this in about 5 steps. Step 1 is lifting the hair to the desired blonde that you would like it to be. So you're gonna take your bleaching powder and mix it along with your peroxide. For this particular powder, it says mix 1 by 1, which means you're going to take 1 scoop of the powder and 1 scoop of the bleaching peroxide. Sometimes it's 1 by 2, so make sure you read on the back side of the packaging depending on what type of brand you're using. So I'm just gonna mix about 4 scoops of powder alongside with 4 scoops of peroxide, and then I'm going to mix it very well. I want to make sure that there's no lumps and bumps, and after that I kind of let it sit just for about 1.5 minutes because I just want to make sure that it's actually, you know, soaking in everything. So in the meantime, I'm just going to show you my closure. It's really natural. I got it from AliExpress, links down below. It has no knots, so I don't have to bleach the knots or do anything, but obviously I'm going to bleach the actual hair on it, but I'm not going to touch the roots. Yeah, so let's get started now with the hair. So here I'm just laying out the hair flat, and I'm going to start brushing the hair from the top going down. And I'm brushing it quite lightly. I'm not going to add too much bleach on the hair because I want the colors to be kind of different. I know it might sound weird. I don't want patches, don't get me wrong, but I do want some parts to look lighter than others. So I'm just brushing it on quite lightly at first, but then afterwards I'm going to make sure that everything's penetrated. But the reason why I'm doing this first is because now some of the hair will develop a little bit longer than other pieces of the hair, so that will create a more natural look when it's different shades. It makes sense when you see the end result. So yeah, then I'm just going to take the hair and just kind of massaging to make sure that everything is blended because I don't want patches, like I said. So I'm just massaging the hair and flipping the hair around so that makes sure everything's nice and, you know, covered. And then I'm going to put some foil on top of it, just wrapping it in foil because that creates heat. And as you can see, this hair is already starting to look a little bit brown, so it's lifting the hair quite well so far. I would probably leave it on for about 40 minutes, but I would check it in between every now and then to make sure. So while that process, I'm going to work on my closure. And like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm not going to bleach the knots because it's not needed. And I'm also going to leave the roots quite dark, fading into a more ash, brownish type of color. So in this case, I'm going to start from the ends, working my way up. Because if we did it the other way, then the roots would actually be lighter than the ends. And we don't want that. We want the opposite. So I'm starting from the ends, working my way up. Now in order to make it look as blended and as naturally blended as possible, I'm basically going to brush some of the bleach on top of the hair. As you can see, I'm using the side of the brush. I'm not brushing it going straight downwards, because that will give you that horrible line, and you don't want that. So this is basically balayage technique, where you use the side of the brush and you slightly paint it on and not let it penetrate to the hole here. So yeah, this will make it look more natural, so I'm just doing that. Once you're satisfied with how that looks, you're going to work your way in the middle of the hair. I will be wearing this closure, well, this wig, mainly in the middle, so you need to make sure that the middle part also looks good, not just the sides or the front of the hair. So you're just doing the same technique where you're brushing the bleach on, like you did in the beginning. And then lastly, you want to add a little bit more bleach on the ends, because you want to make sure that it's really penetrated and saturated with all the bleach, because that's where you want it to obviously be the lightest, because it's going to be a kind of ombre look. And I'm just touching up some of the roots as well to make sure that it looks good. And then you're gonna wrap the closure to make sure that it also is, you know, creating heat and developing faster. So while that is developing, I'm going to check on the other bundles. So it was 3 bundles I dyed. One of them I want to be kind of brown, and the other 2 I'm going to bleach again because they need to be a lot lighter in order to be able to tone it. So for now, I'm going to just put a hair color on top of the one that I want to be brown. And this is the bundle I've chosen to use for the actual brown color. As you can see, there's a few patches at the top, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to be covered under the wig anyways. But other than that, I'm happy with the results. The hair is still like smooth and it's not dry, so that's good. The color I'm going to be using now is number 7, and it's a natural dark blonde. And the reason why I use that is because you can't go from black and just splashing on a dark blonde color. That's not going to work. So you're going to have to lift it first and then put the color on top in order for it to work. So what I'm putting on the hair now is just some protective serum that came with the box that they say that you should put on the hair before you put on the dye. It's not really that much. It's not really covering the hair, but hey, at least I'm just splashing it on a little bit, somewhat. And yeah. Then I'm going to just put the hair dye on basically. It comes with this really cool comb applicator tip, which I prefer to use. And you just put it on top basically. You take the nozzle off and put it back on. And it just makes a more evenly distribution of the hair dye. I really like L'Oreal because this is a really nice creamy texture. and it lasts, like this lasts for the whole bundle, and that's really, really good. So I ended up leaving the hair color in for about 35 to 40 minutes. So on the left is the bundle that I've only bleached once, and on the right side is the bundle that I bleached once, and the one that I obviously put the hair dye on top. So you can see it's a nice brown color. And once again, the color I used on top of the bundle was the L'Oreal Excellence Cream number 7. So now I'm going to basically work on my closure. Now the closure is extremely red. I don't like it, but I do like the fact that the roots are slightly darker than the actual the rest of the hair, which I wanted. Now, so I'm going to have to bleach the closure again because it's not gonna do anything. Even if I put a hair dye on top of this, it's not going to do much. So I'm gonna have to bleach it again, and that's just what I'm doing. And you have to just make sure that you actually put on the bleach the same way you did before, because you want the same type of look. So you do the ends like you did before, and then you take the brush and you flick it like I did in the beginning, and you're just gonna add the bleach on top of the exact same spots we did before. So basically just covering the red spots to make sure that it will look just the same. As you can see, I've done it on one side, and then you do the other side, obviously. So while the closure was processing, I bleached the other 2 blonde bundles. And as you can see, it's really looking much lighter now, and I'm happy about that. So I'm going to rinse it out, and step 2 is now to tone the hair. So I'm going to take my Vela Toner T18, and then I'm also going to take my L'Oreal Color 8.1. I'm going to do 2 tests. So I have cut out 2 pieces. I want to see which one I prefer. So you're going to take your toner, and it's mixed by 1/2. So it means 1 part of toner and 2 parts of developer. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it out, and you're going to use 20 volume. Please remember only to use 20 volume when you use the Vela T toner. The Vela T18 toner, sorry. So I'm just mixing that out together. And when you do the toner, you have to add it on top of towel dry hair, so it's not gonna be dry. So I just wetted the hair a little bit and yeah, towel dried it, and then I'm putting on the toner. So on the right side now is the toner, and then I'm going to mix the 8.1 and put it on the other hair, and that is just gonna be on dry hair, so it doesn't need to be wet or anything. I'm just mixing it on there and scrubbing it in. And already I can see that that color looks really, really dark. But sometimes the color just looks dark, but when you actually rinse it out, it looks different. So don't fret if you see like a really dark color. If you do decide to do the same thing I did, don't fret, because it just looks like that. So yeah, on the right side once again is the L'Oreal 8.1, and on the left side is the Vela T18. So I left that in for probably about 10 minutes. And as you can see, it's developing rather quick. And you think that the other one is too dark, but it's not actually going to be that way, because when I rinse it out, this is how it looked. And as you can see, they look very similar. You can barely see which is which, to be honest. The only thing is, the toner is only temporary. It's not going to last. After a few washes, it will eventually start to bring back the brassiness. But if you decide to use the color, it will last longer because it's permanent. So that's what I'm going to do. I decided to use the color and not the toner. So I'll go ahead and use the same color that I obviously mixed for the test. And I'm just going to apply it on top of the bundle. And here, once again, I'm using this protective serum that they give you in the box. Just putting it on there. Not so very neatly, but whatever. Yeah. And then I'm just adding the color on top of the hair. So now we're at step 3, which is creating the ombre slash balayage look. And what you're gonna do is mark out exactly where you want your ombre to first start. And you can do this with just adding some hair ties and marking out where you want it to be. So this is from the hair tie going down, that's where I want my ombre to be, or the lightest part of the hair. Now as far as the bundle to the left, the one I'm holding right now, this is bleached twice, but it's not yet toned. When I say tone, I mean adding the color that I use, which is 8.1, because adding a color on top works just the same as a toner, to be honest. So yeah, here's the closure, and it has not been toned or anything yet. It's extremely brassy, as you can see. Ugh, it's horrible. But we're gonna fix that. But first, I'm going to also bleach the ends just the way that I'm going to do with these two bundles. So while that was processing, I bleached the last bundle, and I bleached about 2/3 of the hair, I would say. And I'm just going to rinse that out. And the top part, which is still brassy, I'm going to add a color on top. And I'm going to do the same thing with the closure. So as you can see, here's the closure, and I'm using the color 7, which is L'Oreal once again. I'm going to add that on top of the roots, where I want the brown part of the hair to be, going down where the light color is. Mind you, the ends of this closure has not been toned yet, so don't worry, it's not going to look this brassy. So here I'm just adding on the brown color. Well, it's not a brown color, but it will look brown, hopefully, after it's rinsed out and everything. As you can see now, I've added the color on top of the closure and also on top of the last bundle. And it's looking very, very brown, but like I said before, looks can be deceiving, so once you rinse it out, it's not going to be that brown. And you guessed it, the hair is still a bit brassy and I don't like it, so I'm going to have to do something about that. The bundles are okay for now. I'm not going to do too much about that, but the closure is really, really brassy. So I decided to use the Vela T18, and I decided to actually put it on all bundles and the closure. And you can put it on top of the whole hair because it's only going to tone the hair that is actually blonde. Voila! This is the finished results. Don't mind the way my wig is set up on this pole in this cardboard box because I don't have a wig stand, but yeah. I like the way the colors turned out. The ends are a bit split, but I'm going to trim them afterwards, so don't worry about that. As you can see, in the middle I have the brown bundle. On top I have a blonde bundle. And underneath the brown one, I have another blonde one. As far as the closure, it is really, really ugly. I don't like it. So I'm going to have to add another brown color on top of the closure. And I went into Sally's and I got 2 colors. I got 2 Vela Coleston Perfect colors. And I got a color 6x1 and a 7x1. But I'm only going to use the 6x1 because I only bought the 7x1 just in case it was too light. Now I'm going to use 30 volume because that's all I have left at home. And I'm going to firstly work on the brown bundle because I still want the brown one to be slightly more ashy. So I'm going to just section out the hair. As you can see underneath, there's the blonde bundle. On top of it is the brown one, and then at the very top is the other blonde one. So I'm just sectioning out the brown hair first. And I'm applying the hair color, which is once again the Vela 6x1 from Sally's. So I'm just brushing the hair out. Well, brushing the paint. I can't even speak now. This is a long voiceover, sorry. So I am brushing the hair all the way down to where the blonde starts, because I don't want to brush over it, of course, because because I want to leave the blonde ends. So just keep brushing and brushing the hair color on. I didn't leave that on for that long, probably about 25 to 30 minutes. And once I rinsed it out, I was happy because this is exactly the way I want it to be. Now it's looking a bit more ashy, and that's the look I was going for. As you can see, this transition is very well as well. There's no harsh lines. It looks really nice. It's going into a nice blondish look at the ends. And on the sides, it's also looking good. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Now I'm going to work on the next section, which is the blonde part of the hair, which is on top, and also the closure. So I'm going to add the exact same color starting from the root, going down about where the ears are. I'm going to do like a curved type of shape on the same side, on the other side more curved, going downwards in the middle. You don't want a straight line because it's going to look really ugly, so make sure it's like curved and nicely. Yeah, so this is the hair that we're finished with. As you can see, it looks like a million colors, and I love that. That's the look I was going for. So here I'm just applying the same hair color, the 6x1, starting from the roots, because I want them to be dark, of course. So I'm just applying it. Oh, it's a bit messy, but I'm applying it slowly down, and I'm going to show you guys how you're going to make sure that you don't get a harsh line. So the technique we're using once again is balayage, and it's a French word which basically means that you're painting on the dye. So this will create a more graduated and natural looking effect, which basically breaks a line. You could say that's what it means. So you're using your brush and you're leaning it to the side and brushing the paint on. Sorry, why do I keep saying paint? I mean the hair dye, and that will make you look more natural. So now I am so happy with the results. I mean, look at these colors. I think it looks amazing. The only thing is, you're gonna hate me, the only thing is the closure, the root part is still not perfect. So I'm gonna add another color. This is the last step, I promise you guys. This is a L'Oreal Excellence again. This is number 5 in a natural brown. This is hopefully going to do the trick. I'm not doing anything more after this, I promise you guys. So I'm going to add this color now. I'm doing this really late at night and I'm tired just as much as you are, so now it's been a long tutorial. I'm going to add it on top of the roots, going downwards somewhere around here. So I'm going to use my brush and basically just do the same balayage technique I was showing you right now. And yeah, that's going to be the trick, because as you can see here, there are a few patches which I don't like, and that's why I need to kind of correct. So I need the brush to kind of solve that problem for me by flicking it downwards. I'm going to do it more in a curved shape as I'm showing you with the brush, so make sure it's curved and not just straight down. Now step 4, this is an easy one. Condition, condition, condition. After all of this, the hair is going to need as much moisture as it can get. So I'm going to soak this hair in my favorite product, which is, as per usual, my Herbal Essence Split End Protective Mask. Now I know that you can't get this product in the US, so instead you can use any conditioner. I like Pantene. This one, as you can see in the picture, you can use that or any other good conditioner that you like to use. And I left that in for about 40 minutes because it needs a lot of condition. Just putting it in and rinsing it out is not going to do anything, so you need to leave it in for some time. And voila, we're finished. Finally, I got the exact color I wanted it to be. I'm so happy now. As you can see, there is no harsh lines. Everything is blending in naturally, perfectly, which is what I wanted. Now, the last step, number 5, we are finally there. It is trimming the ends. The ends are going to be split, and this is why I always suggest to buy a longer length hair than you want it to be if you're going to bleach it. Because if you're going to bleach it, trust and believe, you're going to have to trim the hair. So this was 22 inches. Now that I trimmed it, it's somewhere between 18 and 20, which I don't mind. So trimming the ends with this tool is great because it doesn't take too much of the length off, but it gets rid of all those dead and crusty ends. Now, I know this was a really long video and I probably didn't do the steps in the right order as a professional hairstylist or hair colorist would have done. Now, I am by no means a professional. However, I have researched for months and months on how to do this process on my own, and I've tested different colors before even shooting this video. I've tested on different hairs in order to know what I was doing. So I'm pleased with the results. And of course, you could have probably skipped the one step where I used the Vela Colestin color, because clearly that color didn't take it all for some reason. So you can just skip that step and just move straight forward to the L'Oreal number 5 color. So yeah, there is other ways of doing it, but this is how I did it, and I'm just glad about the end result rather than how it took me to get there. I am very happy, and if you are happy too with the results, if you liked the tutorial, please like, comment, and subscribe. And also, please, 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 I don't want any comments about what I should have done or what I shouldn't have did, blah, 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 blah. I know I'm not a professional, but girl, I'd rather do this on my own like this than spend 200 or 300 pounds at salon, and I might have not even been happy with it. So, yeah.